Morning. It's Tuesday, December 29th. And my son sent me an article the other morning, and it talked about gig work and Proposition 22 in California. So, do you know what a gig worker is? Gig worker is a term used for an independent contractor. And Proposition 22 in California determined that people who worked for Uber and Lyft and Grubhub and other organizations that hire drivers to pick up passengers or deliver food or products like that are gig workers. That means they're independent contractors. They are not employees. Why is it important to make that distinction? Because independent contractors do not receive the same benefits as employees. Employees are governed by state minimum wage laws. An independent contractor is not paid minimum wage. They're not required to be paid minimum wage. They're not probably required to get any real benefits except that they have freedom and they can work as many hours as they feel like working and they can set their own schedules and things like that. But those things may not necessarily always equate to money, to the proper amount of money. Yes, you have a certain amount of freedom, and maybe it's a second job, and you pick up a couple of bucks when you need it, right? So those are benefits that one could say accrue to gig workers. So Proposition 22 got passed with the help of companies like Grubhub and Uber and Lyft spending over $200 million in, let's call it advertising. Promoting the passage of this law. Of course, obviously, it's a big benefit to them, not having these people on the payroll as employees. So that's bad enough when you look at it, when you step back and take a look at it. And when you look at it, this harkens back to 100 years ago, when workers were abused and unions really came into being. Now, union personnel has dropped way down over the years because maybe companies have gotten smarter about how they treat their employees. I don't know about that, because I know there were some terrible things done to the meatpacking industry during the pandemic. But in any event, Proposition 22 gets passed. And then, recently, Grubhub changes their policy toward their gig workers. It goes ahead and reduces its recommended default tip amount from about 20% to zero, adding a suggestion, leave an optional tip on top of the driver benefits. Now that sucks. Why should they care how much their customers want to tip? The result of this little action causes the tips to get drastically reduced to the drivers. And of course that pisses off the drivers. And then Grubhub creates a fund, what they call a benefit fee, which they put on each order. So it's $1.50 is into the order as the benefit fee. So the customers are looking at this benefit fee like that's the tip. And this benefit fee is supposed to go into a pot, a centralized pot. Unfortunately, not every driver is entitled to take a piece out of the centralized pot. Somehow or other, they got rules about who fully qualifies to take money out of the pot. And there are some benefits that they're getting, but their benefits are in no way, shape, or form the equivalent of the tips that they're losing. Their benefits are not compensation for the no-tipping rule, essentially, that they have basically put in place. Now, this course of action is driving a wedge between the customers and the drivers. Because why do I want to go up there and hustle around like this and get nothing for it? And have a company, why should I have loyalty to a company like Grubhub when they're taking away a major form of my income? Now, under Proposition 22, the workers will receive a health care stipend, provided they clock an average of 15 hours per week on the gig app. So if you're doing 15 hours a week, Either you're working one very long day, or you got to give them 2 days a week. Or maybe you got to give them 4 days a week, 4 hours each day. And then there's another little stab in the back. In order to receive this health care benefit, you already have to have a policy someplace else. So the health care benefit that Grubhub is giving you is not your primary health care benefit. It's a supplemental benefit of some kind. So all in all, this whole thing sucks pretty badly. And then if you want to collect the full benefit, you have to work at least 25 hours a week. And the 25 hours a week is engaged time. That means if you're cruising around waiting for something to happen, that doesn't count. So if you're not delivering constantly for 25 hours a week, even though you're out there for 30 or 40 hours, but you don't deliver for 25 of those hours, you're not getting anything. So the company's playing with a stacked deck. And you don't get any allowance for time off if you're sick. There were some other benefits included into Proposition 22. There was a guaranteed minimum earning rate. I don't know how that's calculated. It doesn't say what that earning rate is. There's accident insurance, well, that could be important. And whoop-de-doo, 30 cents per mile for vehicle expenses. So I don't know how many miles a day. So if you drive 100 miles a day, you will get $30. I don't think that's good enough. And while all of this is going on, Grubhub turns around and announces that they would be acquired by the European food delivery company called Just Eat Takeaway in a deal worth $7.3 billion. So before they sell themselves, they throw the employees under the bus. Whole thing stinks, in my opinion. So I leave you with that, and I will see you in the morning. Bye.